Welcome to model lessons in mathematics, elementary science and technology, social studies, creative arts, physical education for lower primary grades, produced by Rwanda Education Board in collaboration with the World Bank.
Hello children, my name is Elisah. I'm here to teach science or SET, that is science and elementary technology. Our topic today is about types of energy, and more particularly we are looking at the heat energy, or type of energy known as heat. When we talk about heat, what do we mean? Or what do we mean by heat? I know in the previous lesson we talked about the sources of heat, or sources of energy. We talked about the source of energy known as the sun, or energy from the sun. And we said that the energy from the sun is known as the solar energy. We talked about very many uses of the energy got from the sun, whereby we said one, energy from the sun can be used to dry our clothes. Energy from the sun can be used to dry harvested crops, and so on and so forth. So this time we are talking about heat energy. By definition, heat simply means the form of energy that can change, or that changes the temperature of an object. What does that one mean? The form of energy that makes an object become warm or hot. So that is the simple definition we can give to heat. Heat is a form of energy, that causes change in temperature. Many people confuse heat and temperature, but temperature simply means how hot or cold an object is. So we are saying that heat is a form of energy that causes change in temperature of an object. This time it makes it either warm, when an object is warm, or hot. That is when it is too much. Too much heat causes an object to become hot. So that is the simple definition of heat. We have to note that heat has to move from a hot area or hot objects to cold objects. For example, if I touch this table, this table has a different temperature from mine. Mine is a bit warm or hot, I can say. So when I touch this table will fetch, or will get heat from my body. So there we shall have heat moving from my body to the desk here, or to the table. So we can say that heat simply moves from hotter objects or hot objects to cold objects. Now, heat has very many sources. There are very many sources of heat in the environment. can simply talk about these sources of heat. These sources of heat are either natural, that is, they exist naturally, or they are artificial, that is, man-made, or they are made by man. We want to talk about first the natural sources. The main natural source of heat in the environment is the sun. The sun. I know you know what the sun is. From the previous lessons, we already talked about it. So that is the main source of heat in the environment. We have also electricity. Electricity. This is man-made, or it is made by man. It's a man-made source of heat. 3, we also have heat got from burning fuels. Burning fuels. When we talk about burning fuels, we mean either solid fuels, for example, firewood. We can have gas. We also have charcoal. And the like, and others. So these are the fuels we can burn, and they provide heat. So we can talk about the uses of heat. Heat has very many uses in the environment. Of course, let's talk about the uses of heat in the environment. Uses of heat. Uses of heat. So I want us to look at this simple chart here. Yes. I think you can see. So there are very many activities being done here on these diagrams, as you can see. So I want you to study them well and see and tell me what is happening in each picture numbered 1, 2, 3, and 4. As you can see here, just see, then you have time to tell me what is happening. Number 2, you can see here, it's a flat iron. These are pieces of meat. You can see here water. So let's talk about what is happening in these pictures. What is happening in these pictures? Who can tell me what is happening in picture number 1? Yes? Okay, thank you. So he's telling me that he's seeing pieces of meat being roasted on a charcoal stove. Yes, that's true. These are pieces of meat being roasted on a charcoal stove. Good. Who can tell me what is happening in picture number 2? Picture number 2. Okay, tell me. So he's telling me that It's a flat iron. This is a piece of cloth. And therefore, what is happening here is ironing, an activity of ironing. I know most of you have this, and you iron your clothes to be smart. So we use heat also to iron clothes. Number 4. Oh, number 3, before number 4. What can you see in picture number 3? Yes, she's telling me that she can see the sun. In the previous lesson, we saw how the sun is important, or the energy got from the sun, how it is important, and she's seeing clothes drying under the sun. So that means they are using the heat from the sun. Heat from the sun is the one making them dry. Good. Picture number 4. Yes. What are you seeing? Okay. Seeing fire. And this is water. So that means what is happening is boiling water. The fire being used to boil water. So meaning that heat from the fire is used to boil water. So from these pictures, we can round it by saying that, 1, this meat, first of all, is food. The meat is a source of food. Therefore, we can simply say that one use of heat energy is to cook food. To cook food. Here we are cooking food by roasting it. Okay? So we can simply say that one use of heat is cooking food. We use heat to cook food, cooking food. Good. Number 2, from picture number 2, we see a flat iron. So that means that we use heat also to iron clothes. Ironing, that's the spelling, ironing of, or ironing clothes, we can say iron clothes. Heat is also used in ironing clothes. From picture number 3, we see the sun drying clothes. So we can simply say that the heat is also used in drying clothes. Drying clothes. Yes, from number 4, of course, we are seeing that heat is used to boil water. Heat is also used to boil water. Specifically, water for drinking. To boil water for drinking. I want to talk about it more on boiling water for drinking, whereby this heat, when you are boiling water, the heat from the source or from the charcoal or firewood kills the germs within the water, and therefore the water becomes safe for you to drink. So that's what I can say about drinking water. Now, these are what are on the pictures, the 4 uses. But we have other uses of water. Other uses of heat. Other uses of heat. So let's discuss other uses of heat apart from what we have seen from the pictures. Who can tell me other uses of heat from the pictures? Apart from the pictures, I mean. Yes, you can tell me. Yes, he's telling us that heat also helps in drying harvested crops. Yes, what do we mean by harvested crops? These are crops that have been got from the garden. Such crops include maize. If you harvest your maize, you dry it in the sun so that you remove the moisture, the water within the maize, so that the maize can stay for a longer time in the store if you want to store it or use it in the future or in the coming times. That is, we can call that one number 5 maybe. Can drop it here, number 5. Drying harvested crops. Drying harvested crops. Yes. Who else? Who else can tell me another use, another importance of heat apart from what we have talked about in the pictures? You can tell me? Yes? He's talking about plants using heat from the sun to make food or even grow. So what does that one mean? It means that if there were no heat, if there was no heat, these plants we see around would not grow. So plants are able to grow because there is a presence of heat, specifically from the sun. So we can simply say that heat helps plants to grow. Thank you. Heat helps plants to grow. Heat helps plants to grow. Heat helps plants to grow. So, I want us to know that heat is in one way very good, and on the other side it is bad. How is heat bad? For example, you have seen when there is too much sunshine or when there is much sunshine, the plants in the environment dry up, or they get dry, or they die. So what does that one mean? It means that heat, in one way or the other, is dangerous to plant life. So you have to note that one also, that heat is dangerous in whereby it can burn the plants and kill them. So that is something important to note. I want us to summarize what we have learned today in the remaining minutes, whereby we have seen that first and foremost, heat is a form of energy. Just like other forms of energy we have seen in the previous lessons, that causes change in temperature. That is by making an object either warm or hot. So that is what we talked about in the first instance. 2, we talked about the sources of heat in the environment, whereby we have the sun. That's the main source of heat in the environment. 2, we have electricity. For example, from these pictures we have seen, this flat iron here is one of the objects that use electricity, the flat iron, though we have other flat iron that uses charcoal. Okay? That is electricity. 3, we have seen that the sources of heat, another source of heat is burning fuels. Burning fuels. We said fuel is anything. A fuel is anything that can burn. Anything that can burn is known as a fuel. So we have firewood. You can burn firewood and produces heat. Gas, as we also have charcoal, and so on and so forth. So we have talked about the uses of heat. Uses of heat. We have said, one, heat can be used in cooking food. Heat can also be used in ironing clothes. Heat can also be used in drying clothes. That is mainly from the sun. Heat from the sun can be used to dry clothes. Number 4, we've seen that we use heat to boil water for drinking. And we said that this heat kills the germs in water that we are supposed to drink. These ones, you are the ones who gave them to me. The 5th, drying harvested crops. After harvesting, there are crops which need to be dried so that you can keep them very well for future use. Number 6, we have seen that heat helps plants to grow. And we said that if there was no heat, or if there was no sun, these plants wouldn't be able to grow. So that is what we talked about today. We want to wind up this lesson by having a simple activity in the form of homework. This activity is already here for you, whereby we have number 1 as dash is the form of energy that makes an object warm or hot. Dash is the form of energy that makes an object warm or hot. So you just simply fill in the correct answer. Good. Number 2, we are saying that list any three sources of heat. So you have 1, 2, 3 dashes. Fill them correctly with the sources of heat you know. Number 3, which is the last one, we are saying that please state any 4 uses of heat. Very simple question. Any 4 uses of heat in the environment, or how man uses heat, whereby 1, 2, 3, 4 uses of heat. So that's the work for today. You have time to copy it into your books, and you present it tomorrow or in the next science lesson. I thank you for listening. We meet in the next lesson.